So, wir sind zurück, meine sehr verehrten Damen und Herren, auf dem Stand der Mioty Alliance, auf der Embedded 2022. Ich habe meinen nächsten Interviewpartner an meiner rechten Seite, an meiner grünen Seite stehen. Hermann, hallo, wie geht's?
Perfekt.
Schön, dass du da bist. Wir hatten jede Menge Diehl-Freunde, Diehl-Experten hier. Wir hatten den Markus zuerst da, aber du bist nicht nur bei den Institutionen, sondern auch bei der OMS und wenn es zu Metering kommt, sowieso. Hermann, ich habe natürlich ein paar Fragen mitgebracht, weil wir wollen ja immer was wissen und es ist immer gut, wenn man sich mal austauscht. Das ist ja eigentlich unsere Kultur in der Alliance. Aber damit wir das auch natürlich dem großen globalen Publikum zugänglich machen, switchen wir es auf Englisch.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, all right, Hermann. So maybe some words about Diehl and about your role, your responsibilities.
Yes, Diehl is a company which is family owned. We are very old, 160 years old. And all this time we are working with sensors for metering. My job in Diehl Metering is communication with sensors. So I started some 30 years ago with wired embers, later on embers. Now I'm joining my team, and so I was one of the founders of my team, leaded the alliance together with Nuremberg. And I can say, for my experience, I'm in this business since more than 30 years. Mioty is the most exciting technology that we have ever seen, and I have seen a lot of technologies coming and going.
I trust you. Well, we have to be a little bit more specific. You were sitting in the driver's seat, you were the chairman of the board, and since we are rotating, I mean, everybody was crying when you handed the role over to the next one. But anyway, we still have you here, and I'm very happy about that. So, a question which almost is answered by yourself, just how you act and how you promote Mioty. But anyway, I ask it anyway. As a pioneer and founding member, so why did you believe in the Mioty technology?
Yes, we have, as I said before, we have seen a lot of technologies coming and going, and we are testing all these technologies with low power energy, with battery-driven devices. Yes, and Mioty gives us possibilities. First in energy consumption, robustness, what we can see, it is the best technology which is available in the market, actually now. Maybe in 10 years when we are retired, the next technology will come, but actually there's no technology on the market which you can compare with Mioty.
So, your clients, your friends, your end users are the cities. So, talking about the cities, the municipalities, so to say, what is your suggestion for interested cities? What should they do?
First of all, let me say, we know a lot of cities where they start with smart city, they do pilot installation, they do small proof of concept. And the problem is, proof of concept will every time will work. Proof of concept is quite easy. We have some sensors, and the people are satisfied, it's sexy, but then the story starts. And the problem is that we have to calculate with very awful lot of sensors. And we say in 1 square kilometers we are calculating with roughly 2,000 sensors. Yeah, and you have to choose the technology which can work with it. And only Mioty can do that. And if you start and say, okay, let's make a POC, and you are satisfied, it's only the beginning of the journey. And I would suggest to the municipalities to find a partner, to plan, to see where you want to go, to define what is your target, how many sensors, how many use cases, and look for a partner who can help you.
That's maybe the reason I heard from our partners and friends from L'Oreal that they were expecting much more services and endpoints in service being connected. And that's maybe the cause also for the hesitation, since they see the size of the project which they have to deal with. And so POCs, yeah, it's common practice, but in real life, in a really crucial area like smart cities, where you have a lot of interference and so on, you know it, you get dealt with it all your professional life almost. So you better check. So let me phrase it this way, okay? Before the POC is after the POC. So your advice is talk to us. We will look into the whole picture, not only the first 2000s, and then we will provide you a solution, a recommendation, or partnership.
Exactly. This is what I said. What I tried to say is, when the people go in creating a network over a city, to make smart city solutions, the problem is always that people install gateways and then look what happens. And when the gateways are installed, they will find out that there are some areas they cannot cover. And this we have to avoid, because when you reinstall and install new gateways, it costs you an awful lot of money. You can't go at it before, and then you are sure you can have connectivity all over your city.
So what activities, I mean, status quo now? I know you have switched on Pirna this week, congratulations. That's not the only one, we also know other cities, you are super active. I'm just looking in the direction of Rockowille, the hackathon and all the good stuff which is happening there. So what activities do you see in other cities? Are they all in? Are they switching? Are they now realizing they may be hitting the limits?
As I said before, we see a lot of cities making proof of concepts. Clear. We see not so many cities making the completely rollout. Rocco is one of them, no? And Rocco did it quite in the right way. He invited companies to make a presentation, to make a calculation. It was done by Diehl by him. And then he did a good job. He involved all the citizens and was asking the people to participate on this, to discuss with us what is the use case they want to have. If you take the citizens with you, then you can be successful. And this is what has done in the hackathon. It was amazing what young people can create in about 3 or 4 days. It was perfect.
Well, they are young, they think out of the box, and they don't take no for an answer.
And they have no fear.
They are fearless. I mean, come on, we have no fears, but we also have open arms. So, talking about Garzen, taking the citizens with you, because it's a very smart thing to do. Share what you do with them. And in regards of Diehl, the water management, I mean, they are starting to save on their cost for the appliances from the get-go. As soon as they are involved, they are all in, and they can really enjoy the leverage what technology can do, what Diehl is providing to the cities.
Yeah, I discussed recently with Rocco already. We have to give the citizens information about their consumption. They have to manage their consumption. They can manage their bill. With their consumption, with their behavior of consumption, they can manage their bill. But they need information. And then they can save money. Also, when we now look at prices for electricity, for gas, are increasing like hell, you can easily calculate and manage your consumption and therefore also your money.
For me, it was a total eye-opener when Christoph and we discussed it, and he was saying, okay, what you can do, that you can do prediction, that you can really find leaks and so on. So for me, again, looking about sustainability, but also the pure impact on your wallet, on the purse, the money, you know, like these horrible surprises when you have the year-end bill, you think like, oh my God, okay? And that's a really, really good stuff. So let's go a little bit to another side of these technologies. So for example, what systems would you recommend? And I mean, you are, again, in metering, super experienced. We both know there's no silver bullet, right? So what do you recommend? Come on.
I can clearly state that this will not be one only technology for all. This is clear. We will have to look what is the city like, what is the use case like, how many sensors. We will have different technologies and we have to combine this. The best technologies for the best use case. When we have a sensor meter outside of the urban area, why don't use another technology? If it's possible, do it. When we go to high density, when we go to these features what mioty is offering, then mioty is without any competition. And so we recommend that all the technologies you can use. We have created gateways talking to all these technologies, covering all these technologies and reading these meters with other technologies too.
Well, of course, we have a roadmap. Of course, we have some targeted goals we want to accomplish here in the mioty Alliance. But it's not the Alliance only and nothing beside, above or beyond us. So your gateway is a proof for an open arm and open mind mentality. The customer is the topic what's all about. And I think you cannot get a better strategy than a satisfied customer. So I really applaud the open mindset. Now you were talking in the metering world, in the Diehl world, but that should be the general genre of all the organizations. Look to the left, look to the right, and don't be prejudiced. Welcome them with open arms. I have never ever, and I always remember your words, we don't bash anybody.
Bashing is never successful. There are technologies on the market which have their best time after them. New technologies, as I said in the beginning of our discussion, new technologies coming to the market, it's always the same. And the lifetime for technology is something around 10, 15 years. And then the next generation will come. This is what we have to deal with. And Diehl, especially with our gateway philosophy, we are open for all these technologies. And when our customer is satisfied with, we implement. We cannot say to the customer, oh, we don't want it because it's a competitor. No. This is also the spirit that we have here in the Alliance. We have different sensor suppliers and we all work together. We completely open to implement their sensors in our systems. Why not?
That's right, why not? So, but there's another, how should I say, kind like a monster in the minds of the cities, and that's security, data security. I mean, we have all these movies which don't make the nightmares better, where they switch off cities, cut off the water supply and so on. So all the good stuff where you sit 2 hours in front of your TV and look to the horror scenario. So data security. Well, how can we protect the guys?
You're right. Data security is one of the most important parts that we have. Besides technology and distance and data every time, every minute, data security is so important because our customers, our citizens, what we said before, they have to rely that their data are not available for all the others. So end-to-end security is without discussion. And mioty, especially mioty, is covering this in the state of the art. Maybe in 10 years, mioty has to work with the next generation, but actually we have data security state in the art implemented in the system.
Okay, the next question is actually how can you manage and handle it to basically pick up or maintain such an infrastructure in a city over a long term? And we already mentioned Rocco, involving the citizens is for sure one way, and I guess they even get so far that they even were building a club or something, the DigiNauts, to make this technology more accessible and more understandable to the city of Garbsen, because it's the city's world, not Rocco's world, right? And as we know him, that's not his mindset. So how can we maintain it? What do you think is necessary to hold up these high sophisticated but very robust networks?
as I said, maybe in the future is be sure as city what you want to have. And talk to professional people, talk to Diehl Metering and say, okay, this is my target. Diehl Metering or other partners will then talk to you or discuss with you what is necessary. Make a network plan your network. Before you install antennas on a roof and you don't know how many sensors I can reach, you don't know how I can go deep in a basement or something. Make your planning, make it with professional people, and when you switch on the system, you must be sure that the quality of service level is 99 something. Otherwise, you will run in costs after the installation.
And this is really bad because this is the cost which hits you after the budget. So it's almost a rhetorical question, so I phrase it different. Not an advice, but what else could you add? Do you have something secret, food for thoughts for them to think about it before we part ways? I mean, meaning the cities, meaning the utility owners and the responsible.
The digital city will come. This is Nuremberg. And my suggestion is talk to professional people. Talk to professional people. Otherwise you'll be paying the bill. Professional people are not for free. It's clear. But talk to professional people.
All right, and I cannot only compliment this more because you and I, we discussed about another, how should I say, half-wisdom rumor which is spreading around that all of a sudden the cities have to pay license fees to use the units. Of course, this is baloney. It's nonsense.
This is completely nonsense. These new technologies are sure, they are not free of charge. We have to pay license fees. But the license fees are paid by the sensor producers. And it's a one fee for all the time. For all the lifetime, one fee. And the customers like cities or whatever, they don't pay for it. They buy the license with and they buy the product. And there's no cost for the municipalities or industries when they use mioty.
Well, and of course, they also have to pay something, but those are the subscriptions, those are the data preparation, the transparency, the warning if you have a water leakage, and they should pay it, and they will pay it with a smile on their faces because the money they serve and save is enormous.
We have installations worldwide with water suppliers in the city. And we have, for example, in the Middle East, a very huge city where we have installed roughly around 1 million of water meters, and we do the reading of the meters every 15 minutes, since, I think, more than 10 years now. And we reduced the water consumption, and you can imagine water is very expensive when you go to the hot areas of this world. Yeah? We reduced the water consumption by 20%. It's an awful lot of money what they saved.
It certainly is. And I mean, if you just talked about these regions, so since I'm also, of course, in the water market, but water creation, so that means desalination, it's plants, factories, or almost cities. This is how huge they are. That's really significant. And making the water out of seawater is not an easy and cheap endeavor. It costs money. So, Hermann, always a pleasure. I'm looking forward to our next interview. It's awesome. Thank you for making time, and I'm looking forward to see you.
Thank you, and let me say one word to you. It was a pleasure to work with you on this film. You rock the show. Thank you.
Thanks, Hermann. This is so good for my soul, and this is the reason, ladies and gentlemen, why I really enjoy the mioty Alliance, and this is the reason why I get up every morning. Thank you so much, Hermann.